Good morning, lovelies. Happy Tuesday. I know I've been really quiet on my blog lately, and I've been really quiet in my group for the most part. Life has been extremely busy, and well, actually, that's a severe understatement. And but I feel the need to address two things that are going on in the CF community and why they're a very bad idea. Actually, I'm gonna flat out call it what it is. Why it's a deadly idea. And it has been a deadly idea. So I'm gonna be talking about Salty Girls Magazine and the More Than Just Miles 5K that happened in Daytona this past weekend. But I'm gonna sit here and educate you first on why CF patients should not hang out with each other. So I was born in 82, and they didn't know a lot about CF back then. So they had CF camp where other CFers can get together, hang out, get to know each other, meet somebody that has the same thing as them and that are going through the same things that they are. And, we played and we did chest therapy together in a big group with our blow-up pillows and made friends. And there was a Cepecia outbreak. And that's like the mother of all deadly bacterias for a CF patient. And a bunch of kids died. And a bunch of kids still have Cepecia today that are still alive. I was lucky enough to not pick up Cepecia from CF camp. God, thank you, God. But they learned from this that the bacteria in our lungs we can pass to other CF patients. We're not contagious except for to each other. And whether it's Cepecia or MRSA or Pseudomonas or Aspergillus, or I know there's several others that people have cultured that I can't think of at the moment, or probably actually can't pronounce the damn name of it, that we can spread to each other by coughing, by touching, a thousand different ways that we can spread bacteria to one another. So because of that, the CF Foundation started putting strict infection control policies in place. A 3-foot rule, one person at an indoor CF event, and actually now it's 6-foot rule, one person at a CF indoor event. And, at Hopkins, we have to wear a mask as soon as we walk in the building, whether we're there for clinic or not. And I actually have the infection control policy in here. Clean your hands with soap and water, alcohol space, hand sanitizer, cough or sneeze with a tissue or your inner elbow. Maintain a safe 6-foot rule from anyone with cold or infection, other CFers. Germs spread through direct and indirect contact. For an indoor event, there's only one person that's allowed at the event. It's common sense, people. It's common sense. And they take strict precautions. The CF walk, our CF walk used to be indoors at the Ravens Stadium, and now it's outdoors. Completely. Like the after party used to be indoors at the clubhouse, and now it's outdoors. And they serve the food to us now. And certain things, I know this year they're going to have different games, and they'll hand us, masks and gloves and everything so we don't cross-contaminate. If we want to play those games, I'm going to choose not to participate in those games because I'm not stupid. I don't want to take any chances spreading my germs to another CF patient because I accidentally cough on something, or somebody spreading their germs to me, and we wear things that identify ourselves at the walk, whether it's a lei, or something, a bandana or a pin, and I know that there are people at my CF walk that don't identify themselves, and it aggravates me. because I actually last year, I know a girl who doesn't normally come to our walk showed up at the walk, and she didn't have a lay on or anything else. And I mean, there's new CF families and CF patients that come to the walk every year, and they want to know who the hell we are so we can maintain a safe distance from each other. You know, I make it a point to stay the hell away from other CF patients. There's a guy in the rave scene with me. I've been in the scene for the last 16 years. There's a guy I found out who has CF. And I choose either not to go to parties at smaller venues that he's at, or we stay the hell away from each other because we're smart. We say hi from a distance, and I don't open doors with my hands, and I have hand sanitizer with me all the time. Even though we both culture Pseudomonas, he may have a different strain that's antibiotic resistant to me, or I may have one, to him. And, we take every precaution when we're out to not spread germs if we're at a bigger venue or, an outdoor show. So there's just things you can do to absolutely prevent spreading germs. The problem is that some people don't know that it's deadly. It is. It's flat out deadly. We can kill each other. And that's why I have a problem with Salty Girls magazine and More Than Just Miles 5K. First, let me address that there are people in this community that hang out with each other. They date each other. I know CF patients that are married to each other because they just want to be with somebody who understands what they go through. I used to have this debate all the time, and I used to get in arguments, and at this point, I'm like, you know what? If you want to kill yourself faster, go for it. Be my guest. It's not my fucking problem anymore. I just don't have the time or energy to argue with people anymore about certain things on a consistent basis. But that's more of a one-on-one thing, and there are siblings. Sorry, my dog is like whining. Anyway, there are siblings, that have CF and they live in the same house, and that's just unpreventable shit that you have to deal with in life. You can absolutely prevent hanging out with other CF patients that are not related to you. And so Salty Girls magazine came about a couple years ago, and look, I will give credit where credit is due, that it was a phenomenal idea, okay? This photographer wanted to shoot women, with CF and show off their bodies and their scars because of body shaming and everything. Look, I was given shit because I was skinny growing up, because of my feeding tube, and I just grew an attitude of, take a picture, it lasts longer. What the fuck are you looking at, But not everybody has that. Not everybody has my attitude. Let's just be real. So he wanted to show off, that these women are beautiful and they struggle and they go through things and their stories are amazing. And they are. Every CF patient's story is amazing, and every CF patient's story should be told. But, and there's a huge but, and this magazine made worldwide news, and it's gotten worldwide attention. From Huffington Post and People magazine and all over the world. And there's a huge but. The photographer has CF. And when he's taking pictures of these girls, they're interacting with each other. And they're hugging and they're touching. And these other CF patients, these girls, are taking pictures with each other and putting their arms around each other and, touching and cross... It's beyond cross-contamination. It's beyond cross-contamination. And, it's just a phenomenal idea with extremely poor execution. My dog has to go outside. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And it was like a momentary just glip in the footage, but that's because I paused it. Anyway, it was just very poorly. It's very poorly executed. So I'm addressing this to Huffington Post and People Magazine and all you guys that think this magazine is phenomenal. It is for the idea, but it is a deadly idea. And I know a girl who participated in this magazine and participated in this 5K that I'm about to talk about that is not here anymore, that died, that wasn't very sick to begin with. And after shooting this magazine and participating in this 5K, she's no longer here. She got very ill and she passed away. And her family very much believes that it's because of major cross-contamination, because she picked up germs she didn't normally have. So when you talk about how great this magazine is and how it's raising awareness, yes, it is. But it's killing people. Let's just call it what it is. It's killing people. You know, and I know they make the choice to participate in this stuff. And, you know, when the Salty Girls idea came around, I really wanted to do it. Like, I pushed to do it until I realized that the photographer had CF and that we were all going to be in the same building, shooting and touching and hanging out. I was like, nope, not for me. I'll just be over here being smart, living my life longer, because that's fact. And you need to know, before you sit there and praise stuff like this, educate yourself on CF. Educate on why the CF Foundation has very high, strict infection control policies for CF events, for the hospitals, for clinic. In Hopkins, if there's somebody with B. Cepecia, you know, we're normally in Nelson 4. If there's somebody with B. Cepecia inpatient and I go into the hospital, I've had to wait hours for them to get this patient off the floor and move them and clean the whole floor, the whole Nelson 4, before I could even get in my room. That's how bad that bacteria is. So, moving on to the More Than Just Miles 5K race, which just happened in Daytona this past weekend. There's a lot of people talking about this right now. And there is a lot of people praising it, and there's a lot of people who went and participate. And look, I mean, you want to raise money for CF and you want CFers to be able to run a 5K. That's great. Let them do it on their own time. Your problem is you're encouraging hundreds of CFers to congregate in the same place and interact with each other. You can sit here and post this bullshit infection control policy all you want and hand out purple bandanas and masks and hand sanitizer, and it means nothing when you're taking pictures on the beach of nothing but hundreds of CF patients hugging, touching, holding hands, putting their arms around each other, not wearing their bandanas, not wearing masks. I would feel better if you had one big picture and we were spaced out a little bit and everybody was wearing a mask and not touching. Actually, no, that's still not even a good fucking idea. Sorry, it's just not. I tried to, see, when you try to rationalize something that's really fucking stupid, you just can't. It's fucking stupid. I know of 3 people, I think it's 3, it's probably even more and I just don't know. I know of definitely 3 people who participated in your 5K last year, one of them being that girl who did the magazine, and 2 others that are not here anymore. And I know of, I'm actually sitting here waiting. So last year when I first, heard about this, and I know there are several people on my friends list that have CF that participate in this 5K. And have knocked, and there's one person that's knocked the CF Foundation for their infection control policy. It's in place for a reason, because we can kill each other, dumbass. Sorry, just, it is what it is. I'm calling it how I see it. It's in place for a reason. They're not here anymore. They died. And there are several people on my list that after they did this event, and actually after they did the Salty, there's one person that I know that did the Salty Girls magazine, who is in the hospital every fucking time this happens or another shoot for Salty Girls happens. I mean, within like a week or two. And I'm just sitting here. Let's see, it's Tuesday, 5K's over. I give it a few more days before I start seeing hospital posts. Because it happened last year. Every last one of you I know that went to that 5K ended up in the hospital as soon as you got home or within 2 weeks of being home. And don't act like you don't think it, don't act like it's not because of the 5K. It's because, oh, you strained yourself and blah, blah, blah. No. It's because you cross-contaminated germs. And you can sit there and say, well, I'm culturing the same thing. Yeah, you probably just picked up a different strain of it. Use your brain. It's that lump 3 feet above your ass. Use it. You know, when you have stuff like, you know, your infection control policy means nothing when you sit here and say MTJM, more than just miles, does not enforce any sort of contact rules or limit the number of CF patients that may attend our events. Simply because our events are not solely CF events and are not sanctioned and affiliated with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. That's great. You don't have to be affiliated with the CF Foundation, but you should have a fucking brain. And you don't. You're encouraging hundreds of CF patients to interact with each other, to talk, to hang out, to meet. These people are down there sharing houses with each other. And you can sit there and say, oh, well, we're being cautious. Really? Are you being cautious when you use the bathroom? Are you being cautious when you share the bathroom? Are you being cautious when you're taking selfies, hugging with each other? Are you being cautious when you're on the beach? And by the way, you can sit there and say, well, we handed out bandanas and masks. Not one person in one picture I've seen from that event, and I've been all over Facebook. I've been super stalker lately when I've seen this because I've been waiting to vent about this. Not one person I've seen with a fucking bandana on to identify themselves. Not one person have I seen in a picture with a mask on. And not one picture have I seen not CF patients not interacting with each other or sharing a home or going out to dinner together. And you could say, oh, well, that's not us. That's not part of our event. But you're one of them encouraging CF patients to hang out with each other. I've read the page. I've read comments directly from you in groups talking about we encourage CF patients to meet each other and hang out. And it's fantastic, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. You're killing people. You're killing CF patients. You cannot sit there and legitimately say, I am concerned and care about every CF patient when you don't give a fuck about their life. Because if you did, you wouldn't have this event. And you can sit there and say, oh, great strides, walk, blah, 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 outdoors. The CF Foundation runs that event. They keep strict infection control policies in place for and during that event, and they enforce it. Your infection control policy, which, by the way, I've read comments that some people didn't even see fucking posted and didn't know what the bandanas were for, not that anybody was wearing them, says you do not enforce any sort of contact rules. So your infection control policy that you supposedly put up doesn't mean shit. It means nothing. You don't care about other CF patients and their lives, because if you did, you wouldn't hold this event. You wouldn't encourage other CF patients to hang out with each other and cross-contaminate and spread Cepecia, Pseudomonas, Aspergillus, MRSA, and God knows what else. So when you sit there and you see CF patients you meet end up in the hospital within a week or two, because they're sick and they're not feeling good, you think about that. Or you see somebody you know that's attended your event that passed away, or have known somebody, one of those 3 people that I'm aware of, I'm pretty sure probably more, that have passed away not long after attending your event, or within a year of attending your event. You think about that for a second. And you let that sink in. And that goes to you, for you too, whoever I can't remember his name, the photographer of Salty Girls magazine. And everybody participating in this event. And everybody shooting for Salty Girls magazine. You let that sink in for a minute. Every time you watch one of your sisters or fibros die, or one of your sisters or fibros you just seen and hung out with end up in the hospital, you think long and hard about, why did that happen? Oh, it's because they overexerted themselves. No. It's because you cross-contaminated germs by hugging and touching and hanging out with each other. I've seen you motherfuckers at Great Strides walks taking pictures. You're insane. Maybe I'm just blessed enough to be at Hopkins. Maybe I'm just blessed enough to be at the walks in Maryland. Because that shit is enforced. And you know what? When I see somebody that's not wearing something they're supposed to be to identify themselves at a walk, I say something to someone. I say something to a higher up. Because it needs to be taken care of. And you know what? Here's a good example. I have no problem opening my mouth about shit, obviously, because I'm recording this blog. I was in, it was the first time David went to clinic with me. It was back in 2014. I felt so sorry for David because he knows how I am. This girl walked up off the elevator. I was in the registration area. And she was coughing. I mean, barely covering her mouth and just coughing. No mask. You know when somebody has CF in Hopkins because they're on that floor for a reason at that time of day and they're hacking their lungs up. And they don't have a mask on. And she checked in and she came over and sat down on the other side of the chairs, like away from me. She's coughing, you know. And I'm like, and I looked at David and I was talking to David, but I was directing it at her and I said it loud enough probably for the entire floor to hear me. I was like, you know what fucking pisses me off? I was like, when infection control policies are in place for a reason and rules are in place for a reason and people don't follow those rules because they don't give a shit about other people. See, I'm so pissed off right now I can't even speak English. They don't give a shit about other people with CF in this fucking building. And by the time she got back to PFTs, because I was already back there, she had a mask on. Guess what? Guess I got my fucking point across, didn't I? Think about that when you're holding events like this and you post bullshit infection control policies talking about you don't enforce contact rules. Well, that just means it doesn't mean shit. And you encourage other CFers to hang out. And you have CF and you're shooting other women with CF. You want to tell their stories? You're knocking years off their life. Assholes. Sorry. This is a really, really touchy subject for me, and I just really feel the need to vent about it and address it because it pisses me off. This is probably the biggest thing in the CF community that pisses me off is cross-contamination and no concern for other CFers around you when you don't follow shit. And to everybody that's new to the CF community, you know, you might have a child that's, you know, I just had a baby that has CF or a child that just got diagnosed or you're an adult that just got diagnosed and you don't understand this. Go to the CF Foundation, cff.org, and look it up. Look up cross-contamination. Look up spreading germs. Look up bacteria that you can spread to one another. You know, look up why it's deadly. Educate yourself. You know, we can kill each other. We're only harmful to each other, not other people. So, you know, I'm going to do a blog about things you shouldn't say to a CF patient and stuff like that. Because, you know, there's times I'm in public and I sound like I'm the most contagious pneumonia walk-in flu person on the planet because I'm dying in the middle of the store. You know, I'm not harmful to normal people. We're only harmful to each other. We're deadly to each other. Think about that. Don't hang out with other people with CF. Don't encourage your child to hang out with other CFers just because they want to be around somebody like them and understands. There's Skype, there's social media, there's FaceTime, there's a million apps and ways to physically, without physically being around each other. You know, that you can see each other's faces. You know, I've Skyped with people and done treatments because they couldn't keep up with their routine. You know, I've been their accountability partner before. There's 1,000 ways to do it without physically interacting. There was two other kids, brother and sister, that I went to school with when I was younger. Lindsay and Wesley Scott. And Lindsay passed away when she was 12. It wasn't long after CF camp. I'm not even sure if it was because she picked up Cepecia or not. And her brother Wesley, who is still alive, and I ended up, going to high school with and all that stuff. Our school made sure we stayed the fuck away from each other, because they knew, and it's like, it's just common sense. It's common sense. Don't put yourself or others at risk, because you don't truly care about your CF community if you do. Flat out. I'll call it like it is. You can say, oh, yes, I do. I just want to be around others like me and blah, blah, blah. And it's my choice and I can, I can live my life how I want and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, you can. And you can knock years off your life if you want to on a one-on-one basis. Go for it. But when you do it in a group setting or you're purposefully not following rules at CF events or in clinic or, in the hospital, you do not care about that person you're hanging out with or other CF patients that could be in that hospital. You don't. Flat out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much why I did this blog this morning, and I get really angry about it, and I know my language has been a little off the charts. I mean, when is it normally not? But it's a very passionate subject for me and a touchy topic, and I'll get pissed off all day long about it, because I just feel like you should care about your community, and I care about the entire CF community, and I care about, being healthy and living as long as we can and thriving, and you're not going to do that when you're cross-contaminating. So just think about that, and like I said, to People Magazine and all these people giving these things worldwide attention, do your research and understand why it's a deadly idea. Great concept, poor execution. And that's all I have for today. Don't forget to check out my other videos. Subscribe to my channel to keep up with my updates when, I get back on a regular schedule. And I'll talk to you soon. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section on my channel, or send me an email, or, I'm prepared for the hate mail. Bring the hate. Comment on my Facebook because it's getting posted everywhere. And have a good week.